this life is incredibly short. We tend to forget this as we move forward, as we get more and more responsibilities. But the reality is that we only have a few springs. You know, there's only so much time that we have available to us to enjoy, to actually make people around us feel like we care about them, to experience the things that we want to do in life. Part of the reason I started this channel, part of the reason that I do all this social media stuff is part of the legacy. I wanna leave an emotional intelligence to humanity so that people can take a look at it. It was something I was struck by actually in the middle of the night today, because we had to wake up a little bit early for some medical tourism that we're doing. And, well, sometimes it's strange. You wake up with a crazy idea, and it turns out that it's going to warp your whole perception of not only your trip, but your life. So how do we, by the way, I'm here in Turkey, near the Hagia Sophia. Lots of people out and about. But I wanted to remind you how important it is to pay attention to when people around you are aging, when people around you are changing. And if you had the experience to see your parents grow older, you'll begin to realize that we're all going to go through this process. We're all going to change. We're all going to have to overcome the drastic differences of our mental health as we go through more and more rigorous situations, emotional toils. But I think one can take refuge, comfort in the fact that everyone has to go through this. There was a book that I read a long time ago, Siddhartha, and at the end of the book, there's a lot of stuff to read in between, so it's not quite a spoiler. But he ends up spending a lot of time near a river, and the metaphor used is that river is like life. That we end up moving along this current like every other drop of water. And it's a beautiful thing, really, because that's how life refreshes itself. That's how we get to a point where we can understand what our parents have gone through, or what our cousins or children have gone through. There's a drastic change as we progress, and the more energy we put into actually changing our circumstance, changing the things that we do. Here, I'll give you a little images. The more beautiful it becomes. And I think as we grow older, it becomes more and more about leaving a legacy, more and more about our impact on humanity. A lot of my mentors, the people that I respect the most actually tend to say that your happiness is based on your service to society. Your happiness is based on your service to the people that you love. Moving forward, what does that mean? Well, our capacity to love has to increase, right? Our capacity to understand what other people has to increase, what other people are going through has to increase. And there's only so much we can do to make that a reality when we're so constantly in the grind, when we're so constantly forcing ourselves to keep along the path that we've set. I think it takes some time apart, some reflection to realize how short this life is. And also some experience hanging out with people that are much older, hanging out with people that are much wiser potentially than us. And the years keep going by. The song that I was thinking about when I woke up in the middle of the night was Don't Stop This Train by John Mayer. And he was talking about his parents. He was talking about how they're aging, how they're changing, and how he talked to his dad, and his dad said to him, "Listen, man, turn 68 and you'll renegotiate." Potentially a rhyme, but I have a feeling it's some deep truth in life. I think at every 30-ish years we have to renegotiate our understanding of who we are and what we're doing. Because everything changes, right? Our physical abilities change. We might be in a career for a long time. So the things that our knowledge base changes, whether or not it's broad or narrow. The difference made at the end of the day comes down to how much we're willing to accept. I genuinely believe that if you push yourself, you get more out of life. If you have kind of a hunger for life, I think the natural byproduct of that is actually wanting to show it to other people. Because we assume that other people aren't going through the things. We assume that people don't have the experiences that we do. But when we experience loss, when we go through the process of actually trying to relate to the difficulties of people that we don't know, strangers, our parents, our grandparents, whatever it is, then we realize how similar we really are. That we all have our little quirks and differences, sure. But at the end of the day, we all age, we all change, and we all end up in that river of life. So I don't want to make it too morbid, but hopefully it goes to show a little bit, to contextualize things. I wrote a quote a while back: death and nature are the things that bring the most context to a human life. Reason being, obviously, death is finite, right? It's over, depending on what you believe. And nature tends to keep going. A reminder that, hey, your memories, the things that you have created, the person you've become, actually persists beyond the life itself, as a reminder to others of what you believed, your philosophy. So if you're stuck in the grind, if you're having a difficult time trying to understand what it's all for, when you wake up in the morning, take a breath and realize that that breath might be the same that you take when you're 80 years old, when you're 15 years old, when you're 35 years old. It's just a matter of acknowledging how beautiful it is. Seeing all this architecture, getting the ability to travel in a circumstance where I didn't really want to, has given me a lot of gratitude. It's gotten me closer to my mother, which is, I believe, a very, very important thing in life. If we can get to a point where our parents or our friends, they're actually people that we genuinely respect and that we exchange information, thoughts, and philosophies with, I think this life tends to become a lot more interesting. Because frankly, why not live vicariously through other people's experiences, right? Why not try to understand what other people are going through to make our own life a little bit more interesting? Hopefully to avoid the pitfalls of having short-sighted vision. Istanbul, Turkey. There's some jazz in the background. What I realized about the Turks is they're all very, very kind people. So I'm Pakistani. I was born in Pakistan, Lahore. And a lot of the similarities, me and my mom end up talking about this a lot. We see how people are associating what different mentalities they tend to have, how emotional they get about certain concepts. We saw a large parade go by for advocating for Palestine. And it was a powerful sight, a very, very powerful sight. And again, it reminded me that, listen, we're all kind of going through the same thing, right? Find time in your life to be a little bit more compassionate, caring about what other people are thinking about. And I think it'll be some time well spent. So hopefully you found this interesting. I'll be making a couple more videos here in Turkey. Again, talking about life. Not really a travel vlogger, more of a philosopher. But hey, the background, the context matters, right? Smash that like button. Throw me a subscribe if you haven't already. Throw me a comment. What reminded you of how finite this life is? And what strength did it give you? And while you have a second, check out this video. Talk about context a little bit more right here. Actualize your potential, my friend. The world needs you. Take care.